The sea wind carried salt and secrets through the open chapel doors. Celestine stood in the shadows of the stone archway. Her fingers gripped the rough wall so hard her knuckles turned white. She could not breathe. She could not move. She could only stare. Inside the chapel, her twin sister Mirabelle stood at the altar in a gown of cream silk. The lace veil covered her face like morning mist. Candlelight made her skin glow. She looked like an angel. And beside her stood Alistair. Celestine's heart twisted in her chest. 5 years. 5 long years since she last saw his face. His dark hair was longer now. It touched his collar. His jaw was sharper, harder, but his grey eyes were the same, cold and stormy like the winter sea. He wore a black coat with silver buttons. His shoulders were broad. His hands were steady as he reached for Mirabelle's fingers. Those same hands once held Celestine in the dark. Those same hands once promised her forever. But that was before. Before the fear. Before the lies. Before the night she died. The priest's voice echoed through the chapel. "Do you, Alistair Blackwell, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife?" Celestine held her breath. Alistair's face showed nothing. No joy, no warmth, just that cold, empty mask he always wore. "I do," he said. His voice was low, flat. The priest turned to Mirabelle. "And do you, Mirabelle Ashford, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband?" Mirabelle's voice trembled. "I do." Celestine pressed her hand against her mouth. She wanted to scream. She wanted to run into that chapel and tear the veil from her sister's face. She wanted to shout the truth. "I am alive. I am here. And you married the wrong woman." But she stayed in the shadows. Because 5 years ago, Celestine Ashford drowned in the sea. Everyone believed it. The whole village came to her funeral. They buried an empty coffin in the churchyard. They carved her name on grey stone. Alistair wore black for 6 months. And now he was marrying her identical twin. The priest raised his hands. "I now pronounce you man and wife." Alistair lifted Mirabelle's veil. For one moment, Celestine saw her sister's face, the same face she saw in the mirror every morning, the same blue eyes, the same pale skin, the same dark hair pinned with white flowers. But Mirabelle's eyes were different. They were soft, gentle. Mirabelle never knew hunger. She never knew fear. She never had to run in the night with nothing but the clothes on her back. Alistair leaned down and kissed Mirabelle's lips. It was brief, cold, a kiss with no feeling. The guests clapped and cheered. Celestine turned and ran. She stumbled down the rocky path toward the cliffs. Her brown cloak whipped around her legs. Her boots slipped on wet stones. The sea roared below. White waves crashed against black rocks. She should never have come back. For 5 years she lived in London. She worked in a dress shop. She sewed hems and buttons for rich ladies who never looked at her face. She lived in a tiny room above a bakery. She ate stale bread and cold soup. She had nothing. But she was free. Free from Alistair's obsession, free from his control, free from the way he watched her every move, the way he locked the doors at night, the way he said he loved her but made her feel like a prisoner. She thought she could start a new life. She thought she could forget. But 3 weeks ago, a letter arrived. "Dearest sister, I am to be married. His name is Alistair Blackwell. He is kind and generous. He says I remind him of someone he loved long ago, someone who died. I know this will hurt you to read, but I must tell you. He believes I am you. Please come home. I cannot marry him with this lie between us. Your loving twin, Mirabelle." Celestine crumpled the letter in her fist. Her hands shook with rage, with fear. Alistair knew. He had to know. No man could mistake one twin for another after living with her for 2 years. He knew Mirabelle was not Celestine. He knew, and he did not care. But why? Why would he marry her sister? Celestine reached the cliff edge and stopped. The wind tore at her hair. Far below, the sea churned and hissed. This was the same cliff where she faked her death. She left her cloak on the rocks. She left her shoes at the edge. She made it look like she jumped. Then she ran. She ran to the village 3 miles away. She cut her hair. She bought a ticket to London with the coins she stole from Alistair's study. She disappeared, and she never looked back. Until now. "Celestine?" The voice came from behind her. She froze. Slowly, she turned. Alistair stood 10 feet away. His black coat flapped in the wind. His grey eyes were locked on her face. He did not look surprised. He did not look shocked. He looked like he had been waiting for her. "You're alive," he said. His voice was calm. Too calm. Celestine lifted her chin. "I am. I knew you would come." He took a step closer. "I knew you could not stay away." Her heart pounded. "You married my sister." "I did." "Why?" Alistair's mouth curved into a small, cold smile. "To bring you home." Celestine stared at him. Her mind spun. "What are you talking about?" Alistair moved closer. The wind pushed his dark hair across his forehead. His eyes never left hers. "You think I did not know the moment I met Mirabelle? You think I could not see the difference? Then why?" "Because I knew she would write to you." His voice was soft, dangerous. "I knew she would beg you to come home, and I knew you could not resist." Celestine's breath came fast and shallow. "You used her." "I used the only bait that would work." He stopped 3 feet away, close enough to touch, close enough to grab. "You ran from me once, Celestine. I will not let you run again." She took a step back. Her heel touched the cliff edge. Rocks crumbled and fell. She heard them splash far below. Alistair's eyes darkened. "Careful. Stay away from me." "No." He moved forward, slow and steady like a wolf stalking prey. "You will listen. You owe me that much." "I owe you nothing." Her voice shook. "You kept me locked in that house like a prisoner. You watched me every second. You would not let me see my friends. You would not let me leave without you. I was drowning, Alistair. I was protecting you." "From what?" "From the world. From danger. From men who would hurt you." His jaw tightened. "From yourself." Celestine laughed. It was a bitter, broken sound. "You were the danger, Alistair. You were the one who hurt me." Something flickered in his eyes. Pain. Regret. But it was gone in a heartbeat. His face went cold again. "I loved you." "That was not love, that was obsession." "Perhaps." He tilted his head. "But it does not change the fact that you belong to me." "I belong to no one." "Then why are you here?" He took another step. Now he was so close she could see the silver flecks in his gray eyes. "Why did you come back if you are so free?" Celestine's throat tightened. "To stop you from hurting Mirabelle." "I will never hurt her." His voice was soft, almost gentle. "She is innocent. She knows nothing of what we had, what we were." "Then let her go. Annul the marriage. Let her live her life." "No." "Why not?" Alistair reached out. His fingers brushed her cheek. Celestine flinched but did not pull away. His touch was warm. Too warm. It made her skin burn. "Because," he whispered, "as long as I am married to her, you will stay." Her eyes widened. "You are mad." "Perhaps." He leaned closer. His breath touched her lips. "But you will not leave your sister alone with a madman, will you?" Celestine's heart slammed against her ribs. He was right. He knew her too well. She could not leave Mirabelle in his hands, not when he was capable of this. But something felt wrong. Alistair's face was too calm. His eyes held a secret, something deeper, darker. "What are you really planning?" she asked. He smiled. It did not reach his eyes. "You will see." Then he turned and walked away. Celestine stood on the cliff for a long time. Her legs trembled. Her mind raced. She had to protect Mirabelle. But how? If she revealed herself, everyone would know she faked her death. They would ask questions. They would want to know why she ran. And Alistair would twist the story. He would make her look mad, ungrateful. He was good at that. No, she had to stay hidden. She pulled her cloak tight and walked down the path toward the village. The sun was setting. Orange light bled across the sky. Fishermen pulled their boats onto the sand. Women carried baskets of bread and fish toward their cottages. Celestine kept her head down. She wore her hair loose to hide her face. No one looked twice at her. In her plain brown dress and old cloak, she looked like a servant, a nobody. Good. She needed to be invisible. She rented a small room above the tavern using the last of her savings. The room was cold and damp. The bed was narrow. But it had a window that looked out over the cliffs. She could see Blackwell Manor from here. The great stone house sat on the hill like a dark crown. Lights flickered in the windows. Mirabelle was in there, with him. Celestine pressed her forehead against the cold glass. She had to think. She had to make a plan. But all she could see was Alistair's face, his cold smile, his knowing eyes. "As long as I am married to her, you will stay." A trap. He built a perfect trap. And she walked right into it. 3 days passed. Celestine watched the manor from her window. She saw servants come and go. She saw the gardener trim the hedges. She saw the cook carry baskets from the market. But she did not see Mirabelle. On the 4th day, she could not wait any longer. She wrapped herself in her cloak and walked to the manor. Her heart pounded with every step. The path wound through tall grass and wildflowers. Bees hummed in the morning air. It was a beautiful day. But Celestine felt nothing but dread. She did not go to the front door. Instead, she walked around to the kitchen entrance. She knocked softly. A young maid opened the door. She had red hair and freckles. She looked at Celestine with curiosity. "Can I help you, miss?" "I am looking for work," Celestine said. She kept her voice low, humble. "I can cook, clean, sew, anything." The maid frowned. "We have enough staff, I think, but I can ask Mrs. Dawson." "Please." The maid disappeared inside. Celestine waited. Her hands twisted in her cloak. She felt exposed, vulnerable. What if Alistair saw her? What if Mirabelle recognized her? But she had to take the risk. A moment later, an older woman appeared. She had gray hair pinned in a tight bun. Her face was stern. "I am Mrs. Dawson, the housekeeper. Mary says you are looking for work." "Yes, ma'am." Mrs. Dawson looked her up and down. "What is your name?" "Clara," Celestine lied. "Clara Moore." "Where are you from?" "London. I came here to visit my aunt, but she passed. Now I have nowhere to go." Mrs. Dawson's face softened slightly. "I see. Can you read?" "Yes, ma'am." "Can you sew?" "Very well." Mrs. Dawson crossed her arms. "The mistress needs a lady's maid. Her last one left suddenly. Can you dress hair?" Celestine's heart leaped. A lady's maid. That meant she would be close to Mirabelle. "Yes, I worked in a dress shop in London. I know all the latest styles." Mrs. Dawson nodded. "Very well. I will speak to the master. Wait here." She disappeared inside. Celestine leaned against the stone wall. Her hands shook. This was dangerous. So dangerous. But it was the only way. 10 minutes later, Mrs. Dawson returned. "The master says you may start tomorrow. You will live in the servants' quarters. Meals are provided. Your wage is 5 shillings a week." "Thank you, ma'am." Mrs. Dawson's eyes narrowed. One more thing. The mistress is delicate. She tires easily. You must be gentle with her. Patient. Do you understand? Yes, ma'am. Good. Be here at dawn. Celestine nodded and left. As she walked back to the village, her mind raced. Alistair approved her. He knew it was her. He had to know. So why did he let her in? But she didn't know. She did not know that Alistair had been waiting for this moment, planning for it, and the game he was playing was far more dangerous than she imagined. The next morning, Celestine stood in the servants' hall. She wore a plain black dress and white apron. Her hair was pinned tightly under a white cap. She looked like every other maid in the house. Mrs. Dawson led her up the back stairs. The manor was even more beautiful inside than Celestine remembered. High ceilings, marble floors, paintings in gold frames. Alistair inherited this house from his father. He was born into wealth and power, and he used both to control everything around him. They stopped in front of a white door. Mrs. Dawson knocked softly. Mistress, your new maid is here. Come in, a soft voice called. Mrs. Dawson opened the door. Celestine stepped inside. The room was filled with light. White curtains fluttered in the breeze. A large bed sat against the far wall, and sitting by the window in a chair was Mirabelle. She looked so small. Her dark hair fell loose around her shoulders. Her blue eyes were red and swollen. She wore a pale pink dressing gown, her hands twisted in her lap. When she looked up, her eyes met Celestine's, and for one terrible moment, Celestine thought she was recognized, but Mirabelle just smiled sadly. Hello. This is Clara Moore, mistress, Mrs. Dawson said. She will be your lady's maid. Mirabelle nodded. Thank you, Mrs. Dawson. The housekeeper left and closed the door. Celestine stood frozen, her heart hammered. She was standing 3 feet from her twin sister, the sister she had not seen in 5 years, the sister she loved more than anyone in the world. Mirabelle looked at her with tired eyes. You do not need to be afraid of me, Clara. I am not a harsh mistress. Celestine swallowed. Thank you, ma'am. Will you help me dress? I must go down for breakfast. Of course. Celestine moved to the wardrobe. Her hands trembled as she pulled out a blue morning dress. She helped Mirabelle step into it. She laced the back. She pinned her hair. Every movement was careful, gentle. It felt so strange to touch her sister and not be recognized. Mirabelle sat at the vanity. She stared at her reflection in the mirror. Do you have any family, Clara? Celestine's throat tightened. I had a sister once. She died. I am sorry. Mirabelle's voice cracked. I lost my sister too. 5 years ago. She drowned. Celestine's hands stilled. That must have been very hard. It was. Mirabelle's eyes filled with tears. I think about her every day. I wonder what she would say if she saw me now. What do you mean? Mirabelle turned to look at her. I married a man I do not love. A man who does not love me. He married me because I look like her. Like my sister. Celestine. Celestine's breath caught. Mirabelle wiped her eyes. He told me the truth on our wedding night. He said I reminded him of the woman he lost. He said he could not bear to be alone anymore, so he married me. A replacement. Her voice broke. I am living her life, sleeping in her bed, wearing her jewels, but I am not her. I will never be her. Celestine knelt beside the chair. Why did you agree to marry him? Because my parents forced me. They said Alistair Blackwell was the best match in the county. They said I should be grateful. She laughed bitterly. Grateful? As if being a ghost is something to celebrate. Celestine's heart ached. You wrote to your sister before the wedding, didn't you? Mirabelle's eyes widened. How did you know? A guess. Yes. I wrote to her. I told her everything. I begged her to help me. Mirabelle's voice dropped to a whisper. But she never came. She is dead. Of course she never came. I was foolish to hope. Celestine wanted to scream. She wanted to tear off her cap and shout, "I am here. I came for you. I will save you." But she could not. Not yet. "You are not a ghost," Celestine said softly. "You are Mirabelle. You are your own person. Do not let him take that from you." Mirabelle looked at her with surprise. Then she smiled. A real smile, small but warm. "Thank you, Clara. That is kind of you to say." A knock sounded at the door. "Enter," Mirabelle called. The door opened. Alistair stepped inside. Celestine stood quickly. She kept her head down. Her heart hammered so hard she thought it would burst. Alistair's eyes swept the room. They lingered on her for just a moment. Then he looked at Mirabelle. "Good morning, wife." Mirabelle stood. "Good morning. Are you ready for breakfast?" "Yes." Alistair offered his arm. Mirabelle took it. They walked toward the door. As they passed, Alistair's eyes flicked to Celestine again. His mouth curved into the faintest smile. He knew. Of course he knew. The door closed behind them. Celestine sank onto the chair. Her hands shook. She pressed them against her knees. This was a nightmare. She was trapped in the same house as the man she ran from, the man who wanted to possess her, the man who married her sister to lure her back. And now, she had to serve them both. But something Mirabelle said stayed with her. "He told me the truth on our wedding night." Alistair admitted he married Mirabelle because she looked like Celestine. That was cruel, heartless, but also strange. Why tell her the truth? Why not keep the lie? Unless he wanted Mirabelle to suffer. No, that did not make sense. Alistair was cold, controlling, but he was never cruel for cruelty's sake. Everything he did had a purpose, a reason. So what was the reason now? Celestine stood and walked to the window. From here she could see the garden below. Alistair and Mirabelle walked along the stone path. Mirabelle's head was bowed. Alistair spoke to her. His hand rested on her back. To anyone watching, they looked like a normal couple. But Celestine knew better. Yet something felt wrong. For the next 2 weeks, Celestine lived in the shadows of Blackwell Manor. She woke before dawn. She brought Mirabelle breakfast in bed. She dressed her. She styled her hair. She listened to her quiet, sad stories about her childhood. About how she always felt second to Celestine. About how their parents loved Celestine more because she was born first. "They said I was the spare," Mirabelle whispered one morning. "In case something happened to Celestine. That was my purpose. To be a replacement." Celestine's heart broke a little more each day. At night, she returned to her small room in the servants' quarters. She lay in the narrow bed and stared at the ceiling. She thought about Alistair, about his plan, about what he wanted. But she could not figure it out. He barely spoke to her. When he saw her in the halls, he nodded. That was all. No words, no threats, no demands. It was worse than anger. It was waiting. And Celestine hated waiting. One night she could not sleep. She got up and walked through the quiet halls. The house was dark. Only a few candles burned in the sconces. Her bare feet made no sound on the cold floor. She passed the library. The door was open. A faint light glowed inside. She should have kept walking, but she did not. She stepped inside. Alistair sat in a leather chair by the fire. He held a glass of whiskey. He stared into the flames. He did not look up. "You should be asleep, Clara," he said softly. Celestine froze. I could not sleep. Neither could I. She moved closer. The fire crackled and hissed. Shadows danced on the walls. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "Doing what?" You know what? Alistair finally looked at her. His grey eyes were tired, almost sad. Sit. No. Please. The word surprised her. Alistair never said please. He commanded. He demanded. But now he looked at her like a man who had nothing left to lose. Celestine sat in the chair across from him. They stared at each other. The fire burned between them. I hurt you, Alistair said at last. I know that. I locked you in this house. I watched your every move. I made you afraid of me. He took a drink. I told myself I was protecting you, but the truth is, I was afraid. Of what? Of losing you. His voice cracked. My mother died when I was 10. My father died 5 years later. Everyone I loved left me. And then I met you. Beautiful, bright, alive. I thought if I held you tight enough, you would not leave too. Celestine's throat burned. So you made me a prisoner? Yes. And when I ran, you could not accept it? No. He looked into the fire. I searched for you for months. I hired men to find you. I went to London. I walked every street. I looked at every face. But you disappeared like smoke. I wanted to be free. I know. He looked at her again. And I gave you 5 years. 5 years to live your life, to be free. I did not follow. I did not search anymore. I let you go. Then why bring me back now? Alistair's jaw tightened. Because I need your help. Celestine blinked. What? Mirabelle is dying. Celestine's blood turned to ice. What did you say? Alistair set down his glass. His hands were steady, but his eyes were full of pain. Mirabelle is dying. She has been sick for over a year. The doctors say it is her heart. It is weak, failing. She has perhaps 6 months left, maybe less. No, Celestine stood. Her legs shook. No, you are lying. I wish I was. She looks fine. She hides it well. Alistair's voice was firm, sad. But you have seen the signs. She tires easily. She grows pale. She cannot walk far without needing to rest. Celestine thought back. Mirabelle did tire easily. She napped every afternoon. She barely ate. Her hands were always cold. Why did you not tell her family? Celestine demanded. I did. They know. They have known for a year. Alistair stood and walked to the window. That is why they pushed her to marry me. They wanted her to be cared for, protected. They wanted her to have a good life in the time she has left. Celestine pressed her hands to her mouth. Tears burned her eyes. Mirabelle knows? Yes, she has known from the beginning. But she said you married her because she looks like me. I did. Alistair turned to face her, but not for the reason she thinks. Then why? Because I knew she would write to you. I knew you would come. He took a step closer. I needed you to come home, Celestine. Not for me, for her. Celestine stared at him, her mind spun. I do not understand. Mirabelle is dying alone. She has no friends. Your parents barely visit. She has no one but me, and I am a stranger to her. His voice dropped. But she talks about you every day. She cries for you. She says she wishes you were here, that she wishes she could see you one more time before she dies. Tears ran down Celestine's face. You married her to bring me home, to give her closure. Yes. But I cannot reveal myself. Everyone thinks I am dead. I know. Alistair's face was full of regret. That is why I hired you as her maid, so you could be close to her, so you could spend her last months with her, even if she does not know who you really are. Celestine sank into the chair. Her whole body shook. She wanted to scream, to rage, to cry, Her sister was dying, and she had been too blind to see it. "Why did you not just tell me?" she whispered. "Why the games? Why the tricks?" "Because you would never have come if I asked." Alistair knelt in front of her. "You hate me. You fear me. If I sent you a letter begging you to come, you would have burned it. But if I married your sister, I knew you would not be able to stay away." He was right. He was always right. Celestine covered her face with her hands. She sobbed. 5 years of running, 5 years of hiding, 5 years of freedom, and it all meant nothing. Because Mirabelle was dying. "I am sorry," Alistair said softly. "I am sorry for everything I did to you. I am sorry for the pain I caused. But I am not sorry for bringing you home. Mirabelle needs you, and whether you believe it or not, so do I." Celestine looked up. Her vision was blurred with tears. "You need me?" "Yes." His grey eyes held hers. "I need you to forgive me." The days blurred together after that night. Celestine stopped hiding. She stayed by Mirabelle's side every moment she could. She helped her walk in the garden. She read to her by the fire. She braided her hair and told her stories about London. Made-up stories. Safe stories. Nothing that would reveal who she really was. But sometimes, Mirabelle looked at her with a strange expression. "You remind me of someone," she said one afternoon. They sat under a tree. The sun was warm. Birds sang in the branches. Celestine's heart stopped. "Who?" "My sister." Mirabelle smiled sadly. "The way you move, the way you tilt your head when you are thinking, it is the same. Perhaps all sisters are alike. Perhaps." But Mirabelle's eyes lingered on her face. "Do you believe in ghosts, Clara?" "Why do you ask?" "Because sometimes I think Celestine is watching over me. I feel her near me, especially when you are here." She reached out and took Celestine's hand. "It makes me feel less alone." Celestine squeezed her hand. Tears stung her eyes. "You are not alone." "I know." Mirabelle leaned her head on Celestine's shoulder. "I am glad you came to work here. You are the only friend I have." Celestine bit her lip to keep from crying. She wanted to tell her. She wanted to scream the truth. But she could not. It would only hurt Mirabelle more. It would make her final days full of questions and confusion. So Celestine stayed silent, and she loved her sister from the shadows. Alistair kept his distance. He was kind to Mirabelle. He sat with her at meals. He walked with her in the garden. He read to her in the evenings. But there was no warmth between them, no love. They were two lonely people living in the same house. At night, Celestine sometimes saw him standing at the window in the library, staring out at the dark sea. His face was full of shadows. One night she joined him. "You do not have to stay," she said. He glanced at her. "Where would I go?" "Anywhere. You have done what you needed to do. You brought me home. Mirabelle has me now. You do not need to pretend anymore." "I am not pretending." His voice was quiet, sad. "I care for her. She is kind, gentle. She does not deserve this." "No one deserves this." They stood in silence. The fire crackled behind them. Outside, the wind howled. "I think about that night often," Alistair said. "The night you left. I woke up and you were gone. Your cloak was on the cliff, your shoes at the edge. I thought you jumped. I thought I killed you." Celestine's throat tightened. "You did not kill me." "Did I not?" He turned to face her. His eyes were full of pain. "I made your life so unbearable that you chose death over staying with me. What kind of man does that make me?" "A broken one." He laughed. It was a bitter sound. "Yes, broken. That is a kind way to say it." Celestine reached out. She touched his hand. It was warm, solid, real. "You are trying to make it right now. That means something." Does it? His fingers curled around hers. Or is it too late? I do not know. She pulled her hand away. But I do know this. Mirabelle deserves better than a husband who does not love her. When she is gone, you should find someone who makes you happy. I already found her. Alistair's eyes held hers. But I lost her. Celestine's heart twisted. Alistair, I know. You do not love me. You never will. I destroyed that. I accept it. He turned back to the window. But I will spend the rest of my life trying to deserve your forgiveness. You already have it. He looked at her in shock. Celestine smiled sadly. I forgive you, Alistair. For the locks, for the fear, for everything. I forgive you because holding on to anger is too heavy, and life is too short. She thought of Mirabelle, of her weak heart and borrowed time. Life is far too short. Alistair's eyes filled with tears. He did not cry, but his voice broke when he spoke. Thank you. Celestine nodded. Then she left him alone with his ghosts. 2 months passed. Mirabelle grew weaker. She could no longer walk in the garden. Her legs were too tired. Her breath came too fast. She spent most days in bed. Celestine sat beside her and held her hand. They talked about everything. About their childhood, about their parents, about the village, about the sea. Do you think there is life after death? Mirabelle asked one evening. Her voice was soft, faint. Celestine stroked her hair. I think so. Do you think Celestine is waiting for me? Yes. Celestine's voice broke. I think she is waiting, and she will be so happy to see you. Mirabelle smiled, her eyes closed. Good. I miss her so much. She misses you too. That night, the doctor came. He examined Mirabelle in private. When he left, his face was grave. Celestine found Alistair in the hall. What did he say? Days. Perhaps a week. Alistair's face was pale, hard. Her heart is failing faster than we thought. Celestine pressed her hand to her mouth. She could not breathe, could not think. 1 week. 7 days. Not enough time. Not nearly enough time. That night, Celestine could not sleep. She walked to Mirabelle's room and opened the door quietly. Mirabelle was awake. She stared at the ceiling. Tears ran down her cheeks. Mirabelle? Celestine rushed to her side. What is wrong? Are you in pain? No. Mirabelle wiped her eyes. I am just sad. Why? Because I wasted so much time. Her voice was full of regret. I spent my whole life trying to be like Celestine, trying to make my parents love me as much as they loved her. But I was never enough. I was always second, always the replacement. And now I am dying, and I never got to be myself. Celestine's heart shattered. You are not a replacement. You are Mirabelle. You are kind and gentle and good. You are enough. You have always been enough. But Celestine was better. No. Celestine took her sister's face in her hands. She was not better. She was just different, and she loved you more than anyone in the world. Do you know why? Why? Because you were the only person who saw her for who she really was, not the perfect daughter, not the golden child, just Celestine, scared and flawed and human. Tears ran down Celestine's cheeks. She loved you because you were her mirror, her twin, her other half, and when she died, half of her soul died too. Mirabelle stared at her. Her blue eyes were wide, searching. How do you know that? Celestine froze. She said too much, far too much. Clara? Mirabelle whispered. How do you know? Celestine's voice failed. She could not lie anymore. She could not hide. Not from her sister. Not in these final days. So she did the only thing she could. She told the truth. Because I am Celestine. Mirabel stared at her. Her face went white. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Celestine pulled off her cap. Her dark hair fell loose around her shoulders. She looked just like Mirabel now. Two identical faces, two halves of the same soul. I did not die, Celestine whispered. I ran. I faked my death because I was afraid, because Alistair made me feel like I was suffocating. And I ran like a coward, and I left you behind. I am so sorry, Mirabel. I am so sorry. Mirabel's eyes filled with tears. You are alive. Yes. All this time, you were alive. Yes. Mirabel reached out. Her fingers touched Celestine's face, her cheek, her hair, as if she could not believe it was real. You came back. I came back for you. I will always come back for you. Mirabel sobbed. She pulled Celestine into her arms and held her tight. They cried together. Two sisters, two halves of one heart. I missed you, Mirabel whispered. I missed you so much. I missed you too. Celestine pulled back. She wiped her sister's tears. I am here now. I will not leave you again. I promise. Mirabel smiled. It was the first real smile Celestine had seen on her face in months. I am so happy. I thought I would die without seeing you again. You will not die, Celestine's voice was fierce. You are strong. You will fight this. But even as she said it, she knew it was a lie. Mirabel knew it too. It is all right, Mirabel said softly. I am not afraid to die. Not anymore. Not now that I know you are alive, that you are happy. I am not happy. Not without you. You will be. Mirabel squeezed her hand. Promise me something. Anything. Promise me you will live. Really live. Not hide in the shadows. Not run away. Promise me you will find love. Find joy. Find everything I never got to have. Celestine's throat burned. I promise. Mirabel smiled. Then her eyes drifted closed. Good. I am so tired, Celestine. Will you stay with me? Always. Celestine lay beside her sister. She held her close. She listened to her heartbeat, slow and faint and fragile. And she prayed. She prayed for more time. She prayed for a miracle. But deep down, she knew. Someone was listening. But they were not granting wishes. The next 3 days were the longest and shortest of Celestine's life. She did not leave Mirabel's side. She held her hand. She told her stories. She sang the lullabies their mother used to sing when they were small. Alistair came and went. He brought flowers. He brought soup. He sat quietly in the corner and watched. His face was full of sorrow. On the second day, Mirabel opened her eyes and looked at him. Alistair? He moved to her side. Yes? Thank you for bringing her back to me. His jaw tightened. I wish I could do more. You did enough. She reached out and took his hand. You are a good man. Broken, but good. Promise me you will let yourself heal. I promise. Mirabel smiled. Then she looked at Celestine. Take care of each other. Celestine's eyes widened. Mirabel. Promise me. I promise. Mirabel closed her eyes. She sighed softly. And then she slept. On the third day, the doctor came again. He checked Mirabel's pulse, her breathing, her color. Then he shook his head. It is time, he said quietly. Her heart is giving out. She will not wake again. Celestine could not breathe. No, you are wrong. I am sorry, miss. The doctor left. Celestine sat beside the bed. She held Mirabel's hand. It was cold, So cold. Alistair stood by the window. His back was rigid. His shoulders shook. "She cannot die," Celestine whispered. "Not yet, not like this." "She is at peace." Alistair's voice was rough. "She is not in pain. She is with the people she loves. That is all anyone can ask for." Celestine looked at him. Tears poured down her face. "I hate this. I hate all of it." "So do I." They sat in silence. The sun set outside. The room grew dark. A single candle burned on the bedside table. And then, just before midnight, Mirabelle took one last breath. Slow, soft, final. And she was gone. Celestine did not cry at first. She sat beside the bed and held her sister's hand. She stared at her peaceful face. She waited for her to open her eyes, to smile, to say it was all a joke. But she did not. Mirabelle was gone, and Celestine was alone. Alistair covered Mirabelle's body with a white sheet. He sent for the undertaker. He made arrangements for the funeral. He moved like a man in a dream. His face was blank, empty. Celestine did not speak. She did not eat. She did not sleep. She just sat in Mirabelle's room and stared at the empty bed. 2 days later, they buried Mirabelle in the churchyard beside Celestine's empty grave. The whole village came. They whispered about how sad it was, how young she was, how tragic. Celestine stood in the back. She wore her maid's dress and cloak. No one looked at her. She was invisible. As the priest spoke, Celestine stared at the two graves, side by side. Celestine Ashford, beloved daughter, 1822 to 1842. Mirabelle Blackwell, beloved wife, 1822 to 1847. Two halves of one soul, both gone now. Celestine felt hollow, broken, lost. After the funeral, she walked to the cliffs. She stood at the edge and looked down at the sea. The waves crashed against the rocks. The wind howled. She could jump. She could make it real this time. She could join Mirabelle wherever she had gone. "Do not." Celestine turned. Alistair stood 10 feet away. His black coat flapped in the wind. His face was pale, haunted. "Please, do not." "Why not?" Her voice was flat. "Everyone thinks I am dead anyway. What difference does it make?" "It makes a difference to me." He moved closer. "You promised Mirabelle you would live. Really live. You cannot break that promise." "I do not know how to live without her." "Neither do I." Alistair stopped beside her. "But we will learn together." Celestine looked at him. His gray eyes were red, tired, sad. He looked as broken as she felt. "I do not love you," she said. "I know. I do not think I ever will." "I know. But I do not want to be alone." Alistair reached out. He took her hand. His grip was warm, steady. "Then do not be." They stood on the cliff and watched the sea. Two broken people, two shattered hearts, and slowly the sun began to rise. 1 week after the funeral, Celestine found a letter in Mirabelle's room. It was tucked inside a book on the bedside table. The handwriting was shaky but clear. "Dearest Celestine, if you are reading this, then I am gone. I am sorry I could not say goodbye properly, but I want you to know that I am happy. Not happy to die, but happy that I got to see you again, even if you were pretending to be someone else. Yes, I knew. I knew from the first day you came to work here. I would know your face anywhere, sister, even hidden under a maid's cap. I did not say anything because I understood why you were hiding, and I did not want to take that choice away from you. But I want you to know something. You did not fail me. You did not abandon me. You gave me the greatest gift anyone could give. You gave me your time, your love, your presence. Those last months were the happiest of my life. Now, I have one last request. Stop running, Celestine. Stop hiding. Live your life in the light. Be loud, be messy, be everything you were afraid to be. And give Alistair a chance. He is not the man you ran from. People change. Pain changes them. Loss changes them. He loves you. Not the obsessive, desperate love from before, but something quieter, deeper, something real. You do not have to love him back, but at least let him try to earn your trust. I love you, sister. I always have. I always will. Even in death, we are not apart. Your loving twin, Mirabelle. Celestine read the letter 3 times. Tears poured down her face. Her hands shook. Mirabelle knew. She knew the whole time. And she said nothing. Celestine pressed the letter to her chest and sobbed. She cried for her sister, for the years they lost, for the time they could never get back. But underneath the grief, there was something else. Relief. Mirabelle knew, and she forgave her. That was enough. That had to be enough. Celestine stayed at Blackwell Manor, not as a maid, as herself, as Celestine Ashford, alive and real. The village was shocked. Whispers followed her everywhere. People stared. They asked questions. They wanted to know where she had been, why she faked her death, what happened. Celestine did not answer. She did not owe them her story. But she did owe Alistair the truth. 1 month after Mirabelle's death, she found him in the library. He sat by the fire with a book in his lap, but he was not reading. He just stared into the flames. "Can we talk?" she asked. He looked up. "Of course." She sat across from him. The fire crackled between them. "I am leaving." His face went pale. "Where will you go?" "I do not know. London, perhaps. Or somewhere new. Somewhere I have never been." She twisted her hands in her lap. "I cannot stay here. There are too many ghosts." Alistair nodded slowly. "I understand. But before I go, I want to say something." "All right?" Celestine took a deep breath. "You hurt me. For a long time I hated you for it. But I do not hate you anymore. I see now that you were broken, that you did not know how to love without fear, and I forgive you for that." Alistair's eyes filled with tears. He did not try to hide them. "Thank you. But I also need you to understand something. I cannot be what you want me to be. I cannot be the woman you fell in love with 5 years ago. She is gone. I am different now. Harder, colder, free." "I know." His voice was soft. "And I do not want the woman from 5 years ago. I want the woman sitting in front of me now, the one who survived, the one who fought to be free, the one who loved her sister enough to risk everything." Celestine's breath caught. "Alistair, I am not asking you to stay. I am not asking you to love me. I am just asking you to let me come with you." She stared at him. "What?" "Let me come with you, wherever you go. I will not try to control you. I will not lock doors or watch your every move. I will just be there. A companion, a friend, nothing more, unless you want more." He leaned forward. His grey eyes were desperate, hopeful. "Please, Celestine, give me a chance to prove I have changed." Celestine's heart pounded. She wanted to say no. She wanted to run, to be alone, to be free. But Mirabelle's words echoed in her mind. "Give Alistair a chance. People change." And she thought about the last 2 months, about how gentle Alistair had been with Mirabelle, how patient, how kind, how he held Celestine when she cried, how he never demanded anything from her. Maybe people did change. Maybe broken things could be healed. Maybe love did not have to be a cage. "All right," she said softly. Alistair's eyes widened. All right? You can come with me, but we travel as equals, not husband and wife, not master and servant, just two people trying to find their way. Yes, anything. Celestine smiled. It was small, fragile, but real. Then pack your bags, Alistair Blackwell. We leave at dawn. They left Blackwell Manor on a grey morning. Celestine wore a simple travelling dress. Her hair was pinned under a hat. She carried one small bag. Everything she owned fit inside. Alistair wore a plain coat and boots. No jewels, no silk. He looked like an ordinary man. Not a lord, not a master, just Alistair. They hired a coach to take them to the next town. From there they would take a train. To where, they did not know. They had no plan, no destination, just freedom. As the coach pulled away, Celestine looked back at the manor, at the cliffs, at the sea. So many memories, so much pain, but also love, and loss, and healing. She turned forward and did not look back again. They traveled for weeks. They stayed in small inns. They walked through villages and cities. They saw mountains and rivers and forests. They talked about everything and nothing, about books, about music, about the color of the sky. Alistair kept his promise. He did not try to control her. He did not watch her every move. When she wanted to be alone, he gave her space. When she wanted company, he was there. Slowly, carefully, something grew between them. Not love, not yet, but trust. And trust was the first step. One night, they stopped at an inn by a lake. The water was smooth and black like glass. Stars reflected on the surface. It looked like a mirror to the heavens. Celestine stood on the shore. She breathed in the cool air. She felt lighter than she had in years. Alistair joined her. "What are you thinking about?" "Mirabelle." Celestine smiled sadly. "I miss her." "So do I." They stood in silence. The water lapped at the shore. Somewhere far away, a bird called. "Do you think she would approve of this?" Celestine asked. "Of us traveling together?" "I think she would be happy." Alistair looked at her. "She wanted you to be free, and you are." "Am I?" Celestine turned to face him. "I do not feel free. I feel lost." "Then we are lost together." Celestine laughed. It was a soft, sad sound. "That is not very comforting." "No, but it is honest." She looked at him. Really looked at him. His gray eyes were no longer cold. They were warm, open, vulnerable. He was not the man who locked her in that house. He was not the man who made her afraid. He was someone new. Someone she was just starting to know. "I do not love you," she said. "I know. But I think I could. Someday." Alistair's breath caught. "Truly?" "Truly." He reached out. His hand hovered in the air, asking, not demanding. Celestine took his hand. And for the first time in 5 years, she did not pull away. 6 months passed. Celestine and Alistair settled in a small village in Scotland. It was quiet, peaceful, far from the sea. They rented a cottage on the edge of town. It had 2 bedrooms, a garden, a view of the hills. Celestine worked at the local dress shop. Alistair helped the village blacksmith. They were not rich. They were not powerful. But they were content. At night, they sat by the fire and talked. About the past, about the future, about everything in between. Alistair told her about his childhood, about his cold, distant father, about his mother who died too young, about the loneliness that shaped him. Celestine told him about the years in London, about the fear, about the nights she woke up screaming, about the guilt of leaving Mirabelle behind. They laid their wounds bare, and slowly they healed. One evening, Alistair asked her a question. "Do you ever regret coming back?" Celestine thought about it. "No, not anymore. Even though it hurt." "Especially because it hurt." She looked at him. "Pain is how we know we are alive, and I would rather live with pain than hide from it." Alistair smiled. "You have become very wise." "Or very foolish," she laughed. "I have not decided which." They sat in comfortable silence. The fire crackled. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees. "I think I am falling in love with you," Alistair said quietly. Celestine's heart skipped. "Are you?" "Yes." He looked at her. His eyes were full of hope and fear. "But I will not ask you to say it back. I know you are not ready. I just wanted you to know." Celestine reached out. She touched his face. His skin was warm under her fingers. "I am not ready," she admitted, "but I am not afraid anymore, and that is something. It is everything." She leaned forward and kissed him. It was soft, gentle, a kiss with no demands, no expectations, just warmth. When she pulled back, Alistair's eyes were closed. He looked peaceful, happy. "Thank you," he whispered. "For what?" "For giving me a chance to be better." Celestine smiled. "Thank you for waiting." 1 year after Mirabelle's death, Celestine returned to the village by the sea. She went alone. Alistair offered to come, but she told him this was something she needed to do herself. She walked through the familiar streets, past the church, past the market, past the cliffs. She stopped at the churchyard. 2 graves stood side by side. Fresh flowers lay on Mirabelle's stone. Someone had been visiting. Celestine knelt in the grass. She touched the cold marble. "Hello, sister." The wind whispered through the trees. It sounded almost like a voice. "I am sorry it took me so long to come back," Celestine said. "I was afraid of the memories, afraid of the pain. But I am not afraid anymore." She told Mirabelle everything, about the cottage, about Alistair, about the life they were building together. "I think you would like who I am now," she said. "I am stronger, braver. I am not running anymore. I am living, just like you asked me to." A bird landed on the gravestone. It tilted its head and looked at her with bright eyes. Then it sang, a clear, sweet note. Celestine smiled. "I miss you, every single day. But I know you are not really gone. You are in every sunset, every laugh, every moment of joy. You are still with me." The bird sang again, then it flew away. Celestine stood. She brushed the dirt from her skirt. She took one last look at the graves. 2 halves of one soul, one buried, one alive, but both free. She turned and walked back down the path, toward the village, toward the future, toward the man waiting for her at the inn. And for the first time in her life, Celestine Ashford felt whole. Celestine stood in the garden of their cottage. The sun was warm on her face. Flowers bloomed in every colour. Bees hummed in the lavender. Inside, she heard laughter. A little girl with dark hair ran out of the house. She was 4 years old. Her blue eyes sparkled with mischief. "Mama, Papa is chasing me!" Alistair appeared in the doorway. He was older now. His hair had grey at the temples, but his smile was warm, genuine. "I am going to catch you, little one." The girl squealed and ran behind Celestine. "Save me, Mama!" Celestine laughed. She scooped the girl into her arms. "I have got you." Alistair walked over. He wrapped his arms around them both. "You cannot protect her forever." "I can try." He kissed Celestine's forehead. "What should we name the next one?" Celestine froze. "What?" Alistair's eyes sparkled. "You are glowing. Your face is fuller. You have been tired in the mornings, I know the signs. Celestine's hand moved to her stomach. She had suspected, but she was not sure. How long have you known? A week. I was waiting for you to tell me. She looked up at him. This man who once caged her, this man who now set her free, this man she loved with her whole heart. If it is a girl, she said softly, I want to name her Mirabelle. Alistair's eyes filled with tears. She would have liked that. Yes, she would. The little girl in Celestine's arms wiggled. Who is Mirabelle? Celestine smiled. Your aunt. She was the bravest, kindest person I ever knew, and she loved you before you were even born. Will I meet her? Someday, but not for a very long time. The girl nodded, then she squirmed down and ran toward the flowers. Celestine and Alistair stood together, watching their daughter play, watching the sun shine, watching life unfold. I love you, Alistair said. Celestine leaned into him. I love you too. And she meant it. 5 years ago, she faked her death to escape him. She ran from a man who loved her like chains. But love did not have to be chains. Love could be freedom. Love could be choice. Love could be healing. And standing in her garden with the man she once feared, and the daughter she adored, and the new life growing inside her, Celestine Ashford finally understood. She did not have to choose between freedom and love. She could have both. And she did.